Alright folks, welcome back to the beautiful island of Kaua'i. We took the first flight out, woke up at 3 a.m, flew out by 5, landed here around 6 o'clock. It's about 7. We're actually up here this weekend, not necessarily for photography, but my girlfriend Kylie is running the half marathon down here in Poipu, the south side of Kaua'i, but she is still working today. She and her mom are actually flying in this evening. So I figured while she's at work today, I'd take the first flight out. I'd make one day just for myself to do a little bit of photography. And of course, in true theme of this year, it's going to be wildlife photography and it's going to be birding. So we are headed up to the North Shore. We're going to start our way up in Hanalei, Princeville area, and then work our way down the island back around and then end the day kind of on the south side close to the airport. It's not like the typical blue sky Hawaiian day, which is fine. I actually find that I prefer a little bit of cloud and a little bit of overcast. But yeah, in this video I'm going to try and walk you guys through my itinerary. And let's say that you're taking like a day trip over to Kaua'i and you want to take a day trip for birding. I believe that this island can provide you with some absolute goods. Like, there's a lot of birds and a lot of wildlife here. If you remember, a couple of years ago we visited with our big photography group, and I didn't really do a whole lot of like landscape, seascape, astrophotography, but there was a lot of opportunities for wildlife. But yeah, it's going to be a pretty jam-packed day. But maybe you guys can kind of use this itinerary in this video as inspiration to plan your own birding mission to Kaua'i. First things first though, gotta have breakfast. But time is of the essence, so we're gonna eat like shit today. And as long as it's fast and you can get us to our locations quickly, that's what we're gonna focus on. These guys out here this morning. All right, it's as easy as that. You show up to the golf course and the park and you get some Nēnē geese. I'm trying to get like a portrait shot, environmental portrait shot of these guys with these palm trees in the background, but I don't know, the 300 might be a little too tight for that. Who knew our first shot wouldn't even be with our expensive ass 300mm lens, it'd be with the 28 to 200. Ooh, we got action. I think I got one shot of the bird having its wings out. There's a couple of, I guess, positions that I would like to capture. Usually they do like either the one-handed, one-legged stand. They kind of do something like that, or they flap their wings open. So I'm just kind of watching this bunch and waiting for them to do something like that. Oh, I hear Nēnē coming in hot. Right above my head here. Oh, I hear Nēnē coming in hot. Right above my head here. There. Ooh, there. We got some action. They like move. And they're getting further and further away from me though. I think I got a couple of good shots here of them kind of chasing each other around. The good thing is that they're right by the car, so we can always come back and spend the rest of our time, or the time that we have set for over here to photograph these guys if there isn't anything further down by the golf course. But I do want to check out the pond, the golf course pond, because that's another spot where Nēnē like to hang out. Here's our first migratory bird of the day. I don't know if we photographed these guys on the channel before, but the Pacific golden plover, or the Kilauea. It's the one just hunting in the fields right over here. Try and sneak up from underneath them down here. Hopefully I don't spook him, but I think I low-key am kind of spooking him. He's kind of got a little bit of that residual coat or plumage still left. He's transitioning into like his summer warm weather attire, or I guess winter attire. The start of Kilauea season, and these plovers, they spend half the year here in Hawaii in the winter time where the weather is warmer here, but during the summertime they go up to Alaska to have their babies, and they fly all the way non-stop across the Pacific Ocean to Alaska, and it's pretty incredible. Another cool thing about these guys is I mentioned their winter coat. So their winter coats is like more like a spotted brown sort of thing, but then when they're getting close to like summertime and ready to fly up to Alaska, they'll transition into more of like a black suit sort of look. So that's my preferred plumage to photograph them in, but it's still cool to see one this early. There's another like ula right there as well. Look at that clean reflection. Ooh, that is crispy. Like, do you have any food for me? I do not. Sorry, buddy. No food for you. Just banger pictures. Wow, look at that. Good things happen when you come to the water. Approaching action with an alai Kōke'e. There's an alai ula coming in hot too. I wonder if they're gonna scrap. Behind this grass. See all the water droplets on its hydrophobic feathers. What a morning it was. I didn't really expect to see all of my marsh birds out here, but I guess it does kind of make sense. We're kind of nearby the Honolulu National Wildlife Reserve, so I guess wherever there is also another body of water, you could also get the marsh birds as well. Unfortunately, that reserve is closed to the public, but we're gonna head back to the car, try to see if we can get more Nēnē shots. But yeah, epic, great start to this morning for sure. We're just kind of chilling, sitting underneath the tree, just seeing if the Nēnē are going to do anything. Doesn't look like it. These ones are kind of like the, I guess, the chiller, the more chill Nēnē of the bunch. But yeah, when we woke up at the butt crack of dawn, you know, we made a quick drive, but still somewhat of a long drive up here from the airport, and then did a little bit of a walk Like one of the things we could have done at this spot is hike down to Queen's Bath and hike up. Oh wait, flappity flap, flap, flap. Got some flapping action here. Yeah, we could have walked all the way to Queen's Bath, walked down to Queen's Bath, walked back up, and you know, could have gotten some shots of like the Uaukani and the lace and albatross and stuff, but I kind of opted against that because I knew that kind of had to save some energy, and you know, thankfully we used up most of the time and we had a lot of activity of birds you know, closer to the pond, so that was a good thing. But yeah, gotta pace yourself on a day like this. You can't burn your energy in one spot. All right, Princeville, we'll see you later. But we are headed now to the nearby Kilauea Lighthouse. I guess Kilauea Lighthouse. Kilauea Point Wildlife Refuge. But this reserve is a part of the, you know, national parks system. You have to make a reservation with recreation.gov. So we did that. Reservation is at 10. That was the earliest that they have, so I guess they open at 10 o'clock. But yeah, we're gonna head over there. It's about 15 minutes away, work our way down the coastline, and hopefully be able to photograph some seabirds. And yeah, this is like a very prominent spot for a lot of like the migratory seabirds, as well as, you know, just the seabirds that are always there. So fingers crossed, hopefully we get some good activity, some good conditions. And yeah, we'll see what we can get here. Oh my goodness, what an epic backdrop that we have here. And there's a couple of Eva birds flying real close here. Let's see if we can grab a shot of one. Let's see if he turns around here. Oh, here we go. That's an Eva right there. He's on the hunt. Look at that backdrop, all those birds in the back hovering over, looking something. There's another one right there. This is awesome. No wonder they said this is like the spot for seabirds, because man, we might get some portfolio worthy images right here. Eye level too. Oh my god, right in front of my face there. Yeah, so the Eva bird they're opportunistic predators, so they like to wait to see if anybody else catches their food first, and then they go after their prey that way. Yeah, that's the strategy, is just hang out above their nesting spot, and then they do multiple laps as they try to find like a nice spot to sit. But yeah, we're getting some incredible footage of the Eva bird. But my stomach is starting to growl. Those spam bees don't hold me over for very long, so. And yeah, the overcast skies today are working in our favor. The light to, oh, we got some action. Some attack action by that Eva out there. I missed it. But yeah, the overcast skies now is just like perfect, soft, diffused light. It's hard to shoot these birds with direct sunlight because they're so dark. So you either get a shot of the face or you miss a shot of the face, but this diffuse light is just like perfect for this situation, for these birds here. Waiula. Just kind of chilling in the wind there. Okay, that was fun. Did not actually spend my life savings at the visitor center because their sales system is down, and I was gonna buy like the Laysan albatross plush animals, you know, get that, add that to my collection, but you know, unfortunately I could not. They could not take payment, so that's just a sign. That means we just have to come back and photograph some other time and bring a big bag. But yeah, it was a good little session there. We are gonna grab lunch. I am starving, so I definitely need to get something to eat here. Burger King or McDonald's sounds really good right now. You know, the other problem that we're running into is like, yeah, our batteries for our cameras are dying, the SD cards are filling up. You know, I think I only have space to take a couple of thousand more pictures because I filled it up with so much wildlife today. So might have to do a little bit of like a midday camera dump session. I mean, midday activities, not much in terms of like birding and stuff. I mean, this place is kicking off all day long, I'm sure, but the activities where we're going, I think will probably die down a little bit. So we might have the time to like dump cards and stuff. Okay, finished up lunch. Stomach is full. Hopefully I don't kanak attack because this is a long ass drive up to our next location, hour and a half. But yeah, we're currently backing up our stuff over here. You know, we're just filling up external SSDs and stuff. More than a terabyte of footage this morning for like photos and videos, so it's not good. Yeah, we're gonna head up now to Waimea Canyon. There are a couple of birds that I wanted to try and shoot there. We're gonna start up at the top and kind of work our way down, is what I'm thinking. But up at the top, at the summit, you can find Kaua'i Honeycreepers, like Kaua'i amakihi, Iivi. They do have Iivi on here on Kaua'i still yet, but it's more of a rare kind of thing. Iivi, Kaua'i elepaio, those kind of birds. So I'm just gonna take a mosey on up to the top and see if we can find any honeycreepers. If you really want to find like the critically endangered honeycreepers that are here on Kaua'i, like the Aki Kiki, those require like a long mission into the wilderness, you know, at the summit. And I would do it if I had the time and I had the energy, but I think I'd probably start early in the morning so that way I could get down earlier. Because I only have a day to essentially bird, I'm gonna be kind of wasting it if I do decide to, you know, go hike into the backcountry, into the wilderness areas over there. And then we'll kind of work our way down. We'll make a pit stop kind of like at Waimea Canyon and see if we can get both like some rainbows over the landscape and stuff. And then occasionally I have seen like pueo flying over there, so if a miracle happens, we can be able to get a pueo with a beautiful, beautiful backdrop of the red rocks of the canyon. That'd be an incredible shot to have. I don't think I'm gonna get that, but I'm gonna at least like put in maybe like, I don't know, half an hour to an hour just kind of sitting and waiting and see if we can see any flying around closer towards sunset. Little bit drizzly, which is fine. The honeycreepers actually do like rain, it seems, so you know, if it is a little bit misty and rainy at the top, that's actually not a bad thing. But yeah, I kind of wanted to break up this drive, kind of the midway points, and give you guys a little bit of a sponsored segment here, which is something I usually don't do on the channel, but it's that time of year again. We are gearing up for the new year, gearing up for 2026, and that means I am gearing up with a couple of new calendars. As you guys know, this past year has been all about wildlife photography. Sony Alpha 1, Mark II, 300mm G Master, you know, all the fancy dancy new equipment for wildlife photography, and we dove in head first. So of course the calendars that I'm making for 2026 are going to feature the birds that we photographed over the past year. And yeah, we photographed so many birds this year that I need to split it up into 2 calendars. So we got one calendar for forest birds that includes the honeycreepers, the predator birds, the pueo, the io, and the water birds, which is the marsh birds that we photographed this morning, as well as the Eva birds and seabirds and all that kind of stuff. I think that the shots that we got of the Eva birds today might find its way into that seabird calendar if I'm able to edit it in time. The best part about purchasing one of these calendars is that 50% of the proceeds will be donated to conservation organizations that the whole mission and the whole desire of their organizations is to promote the preservation of these beautiful birds and these beautiful species that I love to photograph. So I figured I'd give back at least half of the profits made from this calendar. So it's not only a great way to get yourself a couple of brand new calendars and maybe some Christmas gifts and all that kind of stuff, but it's also a great way to make donations to conservation organizations and for us photographers to give back a little bit to Mother Nature and to the subjects that provide us with such crazy ideas and such crazy travel experiences. There's Niihau behind us right there. If you do decide to pick one up, I really appreciate the support. Those funds will also help me do more of this crazy stuff, traveling inter-island, photographing these birds, making videos like this for you guys as well. So yeah, head to the link in my description, pick up one of those calendars or both of those calendars if you are that much of a bird lover. But yeah, thank you guys so much, and we will see you guys when we get up to the top of this mountain. That over there is the root of all of our problems. Could have gone hiking, could have made a whole day out of this. I think I'd rather spend the whole day looking for honeycreepers than seabirds, but it is what it is. Road closed, no hiking. We're not gonna push it. We're not gonna do anything illegal. We're up here at the Kilauea lookout, and yeah, if you were to drive a little bit further down that road, you might be able to find some more honeycreepers and such, but we're just going to see if we can find any here at this lookout. It's pretty crowded, it's a lot of people, but there's also a lot of like flowers and stuff. You can see the flowers to the left here. Something over here. I think that's an LA Paio. Hard to tell. Just kind of hopping around in there. I try my best to get a clear shot of him. Yeah, I think that's an LA Paio. Yes, yes. This trip did not leave empty-handed. Kōke'e Paio. Ooh, beautiful. There you can see the Kōke'e Paio has a little bit more like grayish pattern to it and doesn't have like that spotted pattern like the Big Island or the Oahu Paios do. It has that gray underside. And I think we got a couple of pretty decent shots of the Kōke'e Paio. Cute little guy hopping around, silent, absolutely silent, didn't make a noise at all. And I was just like, what's that brown thing hopping around in there? And it turns out it was the bird that we were looking for. Just got so lucky. Yeah, I got some apapane flying around out there. No ways. May have caught a glimpse of an apapane. He's hanging out up there. That's the fucking shot right there. That fat ohia lehua. Get some video, get some video, get some video. Yeah. Split second of video. Oh, fuck yeah. Anytime you're shooting these honey creepers, find the ohia that they're gonna hop to and keep a close eye on it and be ready to like move your camera into position. There was this fat bunch of ohia that he landed on. I knew exactly where he was going. I just followed him all the way there. I cannot believe the luck we're getting today. We got Nēnē, alai. We got some Kawaiele. We got and Eva birds. Elepaio, and now apapane. Like, oh, this is so good. I cannot believe the luck that we're getting here right now. Yeah, that shot that we got with him, got him with a bee inside of it. That's pretty cool. Bee and apapane, 2 pollinators in works. But bees are actually an invasive pollinator of Hawaii. The apapane and the other honey creepers are the natural pollinators of Hawaii. So it is what it is, but yeah, pretty cool that we're able to get such good shots. Even though this is like not the island you think you would go for honey creepers. Got some pretty good ones, but yeah, starting to run out of time here. I think we only have maybe about half an hour before we have to start heading down. So I'll make a pit stop, see if there's any rainbows, see if any pueo show up on the way down. Well, I don't think we're getting any rainbows today. We got 0 rain this way. We've also got 0 light that way. So that's a recipe for disappointment when it comes to rainbows. But we do have a couple of birds flying deep in the valley. I just kind of need them to come a little bit closer. I don't know if they will, but those are the Kōke'e, or white-tailed tropic birds. Yeah, if I see them come close, I might be able to grab a shot of them. I really love this background. The colors, the greens, the reds, it's just a beautiful shot. You know, the other thing too is that there are pueo around this area, so I wanted to kind of hit this spot up kind of later in the evening. I didn't want to come here first and then go up to the top. I wanted to go up to the top first and come back down in hopes of giving the pueo some time to kind of come out closer towards the evening time. All right, at least if there's no birds, it gives us a few minutes to just kind of chill and relax. Yeah, this has been a really fun trip. I've had a blast so far, and you know, it is nice to just kind of sit back here and chill. Kaua'i has been the island that me and my girlfriend Kylie had come to over and over again. So we've had incredible sunsets, incredible conditions over here, you know, but you know, the past couple times I've come, kind of left a sour taste in my mouth, probably because the weather didn't live up to the expectations that I wanted to, and you know, that experience just kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. And I came back home and I'm like, yeah, let's just focus on the wildlife, because the wildlife don't give a shit about what the weather is, and neither should I. You know, I should go out any weather condition, try to take some photos of wildlife, and you know, if the landscape presents itself, then we'll take that shot. But if not, then at least we won't be disappointed, because we're not just kind of tying ourselves to the landscape. So I guess that would be a recommendation to all of you folks going forward is, you know, buy yourself, it doesn't have to be the 300mm G Master or a super telephoto lens, but 100 to 400 is a great lens for both landscape as well as wildlife photography. And whenever you're going to a spot, maybe like pick your spots based off of wildlife first, and then if you see like the weather conditions are going to be great in one particular area, you can try and make it out there for sunrise or sunset or Milky Way and all that kind of stuff. But now that I'm kind of mostly doing wildlife now, and maybe landscape and astrophotography secondary to, you know, to wildlife, it's really changed my perspective on this island and focusing on something a little bit different, while still keeping your eyes open for like good landscape photography opportunities, but not really getting so much tied into, you know, the landscape and the weather and all that kind of stuff. It definitely has been a benefit to me. There's one, he's kind of flying closer-ish, maybe. Overall, just, you know, keep your expectations low. Don't be going to a spot expecting to see a bird or expecting to get like epic landscape photography conditions. Just go out there knowing that there's the possibility that these creatures will show up, or there's a possibility that the light will show up or the rainbows will show up, and whether or not that happens, don't get too tied to the result. You know, just go out there for the experience. And yeah, it helps to go to an island like this where we have one of the best seabirds and marsh bird sanctuaries. And the only thing that I really kind of lucked out on, to be quite honest, was the Elepaio and the Apapane up at the summit. But you know, it does help to go to a location that's a little bit more favorable for wildlife photography. But yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get anything from here. It's 4 o'clock now. We've made about an hour drive down to our last location for the day. That'll give us maybe an hour, 2 hours to photograph like afternoon, like sunset kind of stuff. And over there we should get a little bit more wildlife, I'm thinking. So I think we'll pack it up, head on back down. Okay, so we are headed towards our final spot for the evening. It's a new spot. I've never visited before, so that's kind of exciting. It's a little bit past Waimea town, so it is a little bit far from the airport, about an hour away, so I don't think I'm going to be able to stay for sunset because Kylie and her mom are flying in around sunset time, so I'm going to have to dip a little bit early. But that should give us at least a few, maybe like an hour, hour and a half-ish of solid wildlife photography opportunities. But the location is called Kawaiele Marsh. It is a marsh, so there are marsh birds there. I saw community photos of alai, of io, of black-crowned night herons or ku'us. So, you know, that's good. But the primary reason why I wanted to go to this area is that this is one of the hot spots for barn owls here on Kaua'i Island. And, you know, it's very weird because, you know, barn owls are invasive. They were introduced to help kind of control the mongoose population, because the mongoose was introduced, and you know, they were, you know, very detrimental towards you know, native Hawaiian birds. So they're like, oh, we got to bring in the barn owl, and the barn owl will take care of the mongoose and all that kind of stuff. So, but it also kind of ended up backfiring too, because the barn owls hunt at night and the mongoose are active during the daytime. So, you know, there's a idiot conservation move right there. But the barn owls ended up feeding on the uaukani, and the uaukani was it eggs and the chicks and stuff. So it was detrimental to that to the seabird populations, even though the intended use was to have it control the mongoose population. So kind of junk there. But the American barn owl is a beautiful looking bird. We have them on Oahu. Darwin has photographed them a couple of times, but I haven't gotten the chance to photograph one out in the wild just yet. So I'm gonna try to see if we're able to maybe get a shot of a barn owl tonight. I'm not holding my breath, but who knows? Maybe we'll see one. I guess this is it. Shucks, I wish I got it on video, but all was quiet on the western front until I walked up and our friend the IO started giving us some greetings. Remember, these guys are super territorial, so they do not like us here. And I could see the potential for where the barn owls will show up closer towards sunset time, because there is like a big like farmland on the other side of the marsh. So I would assume the barn owls would come on this side and like hang out for a little bit and like perch on the fence post and all that kind of stuff. So we'll keep our eyes peeled on the way back, but I'm honestly not holding my breath. I'm not that impressed by this place. Real quick, we just spooked an alai Kōke'e. There he is, hanging out over there. It's nice lighting. It's just freaking hot. Wait, what? Is that an alai hula or an alai Kōke'e? That's like red on its head. What in the world? It's a hybrid. They've been crossbreeding themselves. Oh, here we go, here we go. Don't turn away. I'm trying to photograph you. Weird one. Weird looking alai Kōke'e. Yeah, he's definitely got some red on his forehead. Weird, yeah? He's got some red on his forehead there. See, remember the story of Maui and the Secret of Fire, how you burnt the alai on the forehead? This one was the one that was burnt halfway. So I did do some research, and apparently it's very rare, but 1 to 3% of the population of alai Kōke'e can have this red spot on top of its beak. So because this guy is so rare, he made his way into the 2026 Waterbird calendar. Here come this flock of Nēnēs. Let's see if they make a turn by me. Yeah, here they come. And there they go the other way. And there's these two coming straight on. Oh, fuck. 600 too tight. Or maybe it's just only in the front part, that's where like the action is. So I'm walking towards the back. I'm like looking over the hills. There's some birds, but again, very scattered. They're each kind of contained in their own pond, so yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, we'll head back. We'll see if there's anything else to photograph. I don't think there will be. But I'm also at the same time kind of birded out at this point, like all day, long day. Been up since 3 o'clock. And the IO is telling me to leave, and I honestly feel like leaving. Like, I'm tired, I'm exhausted. The only thing that would keep me here though is if I saw a barn owl. I'd be chasing the barn owl around for a little while, but I haven't seen one. Plus we have to leave before dusk even comes, so that's gonna decrease our chances of seeing one. Yeah, we'll just keep our eyes peeled on the way back. But yeah, honestly, I'm feeling pretty birded out. All right, well, I think that's gonna do it for us here today. I had a freaking blast. Like, I had so much fun. I never felt like that excitement to come back to Kaua'i until this trip, you know, coming back. Driving up to Princeville this morning, I was like giddy and ready to go. I was like, oh yes, I'm gonna photograph birds and have a good time. And yeah, everything just kind of went according to plan. Yeah, we got pretty much the exact Nēnē shots that I was going for. You know, it's not breeding season. You know, I wasn't expecting to see a lot of chicks or young Nēnē geese out there. So, you know, I was just kind of looking for some action, you know, some honking birds and some flapping birds, and we got that. Kilauea Point Wildlife Sanctuary was absolutely incredible. Like, if your main goal is to photograph seabirds, especially like the booby birds, the Eva birds, and maybe even a little bit of like white red-tailed tropic birds, the Kaua'i, you definitely can get a lot of good shots there. And driving up to like Waimea Canyon and Kilauea Lookout, I wasn't really expecting to get a whole lot, but you know, I was very surprised to, you know, just near the parking lot, get that Elepaio, get the Apapane, and yeah, I just got really lucky with those. I wouldn't expect to see them there every single time, but you know, definitely gonna check it out every time I'm up there, just to, you know, peruse the forest and spend some time up there a little bit. Quite nice, and that was like a nice cherry on top. Didn't really get anything at Waimea Canyon, and didn't really get, well, we did see that cool hybrid looking alai Kōke'e or alai ula, I don't even know what it is, but that little hybrid bird down by this marsh over here. So that was also pretty cool to see as well. But yeah, it was a really, really fun day of birding, jam-packed. I'm tired, I'm birded out, you know, I don't want to pick up my camera for the rest of this trip. But you know, it really was fun. Kaua'i has some incredible landscapes that are just like utterly jaw-dropping, but if you can look past the landscapes, you know, especially if the lighting isn't ideal for those landscapes, then the wildlife is stellar, just as stellar. So don't close yourself off if you're coming to the Garden Isle. Maybe use this as inspiration and a little bit of a plan if you are coming up here to bird. This was definitely tiring, and I definitely was a little bit insane to try and do this all in one day. But if you've got like a weekend and stuff and you can split this up, then I think that would be more ideal. If you only got a day, you got to run them hard and kind of end your day early and book it back to the airport, catch your flight back home, and you know, that's definitely possible to do. But yeah, if you are not into hiking and stuff but still want to do some birding, then definitely these things that we just did, these activities are, you know, are good ones to try out if you ever find yourself on the Garden Isle. But yeah, maybe use this itinerary as a little bit of a inspiration, a little bit of guidance to, you know, do some birding activities here on the Garden Isle. I hope you guys found this entertaining, inspirational, at least a little bit helpful. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed having this day all to myself, and I'm definitely going to enjoy the rest of this weekend relaxing and not doing any sort of photography. But that's going to about do it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this type of content, this travel, vacation, a little bit of photography, education, hit that like button, comment below, subscribe if you aren't already, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.